I know what the world needs. It's the
Yeah.
intervention of my will to bring about the eschaton.
But when I
That's
was,
the
yeah,
undercurrent behind all
correct.
bad guys.
And
My ears perked up when you mentioned this word immanentizing the eschaton, because that's actually, Karen, one of the things that made me want to talk about this. So AI and large language models, and then you have the kind of non-human intelligence UAP phenomenon, all kind of coalescing at the same time. And so, what about that immanentizing? Because I see that rhetoric. I'm
yeah,
telling you guys, that's the number one. That's the reason why I wrote the paper, and no one took me seriously. I was like the anti-Strike. I was saying, listen, these guys are building this stuff right now. This is 2015, 2014, and I could not get a Christian to take me seriously. I would
so
interview Christians, leading professors, leading theologians that you would know by name, and they would say, well, it's not really that big of a deal if AI takes over the world, because guess what? Heat death of the universe. We're all going to die. The universe come to an end anyway. So they're just kicking the can further down the road. And I was like, what are you talking
What?
about?
What?
I mean, like, we have to address
Bizarre.
this. Yeah,
wow.
but it seems bizarre now. But 10 years ago, that's what I'm saying. Lewis was so ahead of his time
Right.
to have written this in 1945. Here in that Hideous Strength, he sort of says, and now the final move is that you've got a narrative going where you say over 13.8 billion years, it was all leading to intelligence. And humans can now use intelligence to remake ourselves into what we want. We can ascend and make ourselves like the Most High. And the fact that they want to isolate and amplify intelligence, what in the world are we doing now but that very thing?
This is where McGilchrist's work is so important too, because when we say intelligence, what we really mean is that sort of like hyper dominant left brain mode that has become really part and parcel of our culture. Like this is, to
Or
me, this
you
could
can
actually be Barfield's idea of withdrawal participation. Like a hyper left brain culture is the culture of withdrawal participation. Where you have balance between the hemispheres, you actually have higher levels of participation. So those to me, those things tie directly together. And here's the question. I think so the eschaton has to be immanentized because the eschaton is the marriage of heaven and earth, right? So it's like you have that verse about like seizing the kingdom of God by force, right? So that's the wrong kind of immanentizing of the eschaton. They're trying to make it happen now on their terms. But
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
is also an attempt to immanentize the eschaton, which is what the image that we get at the end of the book is like. It's a little taste, like you can see like, oh, this is what paradise is supposed to look like. This is what the marriage of heaven and earth looks like. This is what things look like when everything is properly ordered within the cosmic hierarchy.
So when you say immanentizing, you mean IMMINENT.
Imminent. Imminent.
I used it in both senses and in contrast. So the immanentize with an E that's the only way the eschaton comes back. It's marriage of heaven and earth, that's what it is. So that's necessary. But the thing is like how it happens. Like, are we godless men who want to seize the kingdom of God by force? I.e., make it happen right now, try to force it on our own terms? Or do we engage in an active passive mode? Do we allow ourselves to engage with the creation as if we're a living being again, and allow it to happen through that active passivity that allows for the marriage of heaven and earth to happen? Because like, I mean, the primary example of the mode that we're supposed to be in is Mary, her fiat.
You're not saying the act of passivity. You're saying
Active passivity.
Okay, that makes more sense too. Okay.
Immanentizing and immanentizing. I'm going to play off that for a second, because the problem I've had is sort of activating the religious Christian immune system to even come online to sort of proffer a response at all. Like, even if it's active passivity, is better than ignorant bliss, I suppose. I mean, just the unwillingness to even engage with the idea that right now sermons are being held by AI,
Well,
pastors.
maybe the problem is thinking that it is our intelligence is what makes us human, right? Because that's definitely what the idol of the people that are pushing for artificial intelligence is. That's what they think makes us. That's what they think defines human beings, right? And that's why that's what they're trying to model.
This word that they're throwing around, like a demon or an egg,
Yeah,
or
right.
an amalgam of human ideas that has
it definitely-
desire that wants to go somewhere.
So, but yes, but egregores are not persons, and this is important. Is that so? Yeah, they are collective intelligences, yes, but but they're not persons. Moloch is what we would call an egregore, which is exactly what we're talking about. I would say that yes, this is what AI resembles most, is an egregore, because it is something that is created from human collective intelligence, but it has no personhood of its own, right? It can't. A demon or a devil, on the other hand, it does. So Mammon is distinct from Moloch, because Mammon actually is like traditionally held to be a devil or a demon, and devils or demons are considered to have an hypostasis. So they have there's a personal element to them that the egregore does not have. And what I'm saying is that AI can't be a person if you understand what a person really is. It can be an intelligence. I'm not denying that artificial intelligence as an intelligence is a possibility. Of course it is. It can be an intelligence, but it can't be a person.
The road that we're going down, Christians, to my mind, are like small children who have wandered into the forest and don't know where they are.
Because we've had this flattened cosmology, and we're not ready for. Lewis is presenting us with a cosmology that is like way more than what the Christian imagination, like in the last 500 years or so, is prepared to deal with. Now, if you go further back in Christian history, it's different. What was that?
Christians have had a very siloed education. This is my big critique of confessionalism, is it silos you into traditions. And I've experienced this my whole life. You're reading the wrong books. You're reading books by guys that aren't approved, by accredited, the right guys, the biblical guys, the whatever. Throw whatever label you want on it. It's all marketing. You're reading the wrong books. Well, what happens when you read a very siloed, narrow range of books?